When will it be enough? When will you allow yourself to truly be with the present moment instead of getting on your tippy toes and peering over it to the future or peering back over your shoulder at the past, never truly living in all that you have, the here and the now? When will it be enough? Because if it isn't enough now, it never will be. It won't be when you get to some point in the future because you'll just want more. If you want more now, you'll always want more. Truly, to become rich means to want less. Truly, to have enough is true wealth. In the Tao Te Ching by Lao Tzu, he tells us that true wealth is knowing what is enough, knowing when you can stop striving for more. And it's a hard balance because one should always strive to be better, but to be better in the eyes of others and in the eyes of this material world, to get more material is not necessary. And we act as if looking back over our shoulder at the past does us any good. It does occasionally, learn from your mistakes, um, and rejoice in past success, but you don't want to live in there. Keep those visits brief and come back to the present moment, because the past is dead. The past is no longer with you. And if you live in that time, then you will not live at all. And sometimes I think it's really hard to accept the fact that you're right where you're supposed to be and you couldn't be anywhere else. But the more and more I contemplate that question, the more and more I feel like it's true and can see how all the places I've been, all the things I've done, have all cultivated to help me become a better person and to help me realize things. And the only way you can come to realize these truths is if you realize that this is happening for you and not to you. Because if you get stuck in the mindset that this is happening to me, then you can't give the situation enough brain power to realize the benefit. You're sitting there complaining and whining and saying, why me? Instead of asking yourself, why me? Why me in a curious way, not why me in a uh, victim way. Say, what can I learn from this lesson? What is, the universe trying to teach me? Or God, or whatever you believe in. And if you don't believe in anything, then I still think you can agree that some things in your life have happened that at the time you thought were horrible, but in the end, but now you look back and you believe those things happened for a reason, and that reason was for the best, and you learned great values from it. So just allow yourself to remember that in each and every moment, good or bad, and ask yourself, why is this happening? What insight can I gain from this happening? Epictetus in his discourses talks about how you can hold a jar from two handles, and one handle cannot bear weight. If you pick it up from that handle, it'll break and you don't bear the situation. But if you pick it up from the other handle, it can bear weight. And we always have to pick up the situation by the handle that can bear weight. Always pick up the side, or always view the situation in a way that helps you endure it. Don't lament and say, woe to me, woe is me, this is horrible, why is this happening to me? I have horrible luck. That gets you nowhere, except for wallowing in your own self-pity, which nobody needs and nobody really wants. People do it, but if you ask people if they want to be doing that, they really don't. They just think it's a natural thing to do for what has happened to them. So always bear the situation with the handle that will bear weight. And always allow yourself to just be in the moment, to just enjoy whatever it is you're doing. Because soon enough, you will run out of present moments. Soon enough, you will have no more present moments. You will be dead. And in those final moments, you'll wish you cherished more of those present moments. Even looking back, I can tell you times where I wish I was more in that moment and more where my feet were than in some other place, because those times have now passed and I wish I was in them more. And we truly don't need to always get on our tippy toes to look into the future. I think humans have developed to do that, for survival reasons and things of that nature. But in this day and age, it isn't always helpful to just look to the future instead of just being in the moment and enjoying where you are when you are there. Now, sometimes it takes a little bit to get into the present moment. And what I mean by that is, you can't just say, all right, I'm going to be present, and 3 seconds goes by and then you're done, and then you're back to thinking about whatever. You should go deep into the present moment. Go for a couple hour walk with no phone, nothing, just you and the present, and just observe the outside world, the birds, the grass, the trees, whatever it may be, and explore your mind. But don't regret the past, and don't peer over the present moment and stare into the future. Give yourself time to just enjoy where it is you are and what it is you are doing and at what point in your life you're at. Because you're currently living the good old days. You may not think you are, and you may not realize you are, but one day I'm sure you'll look back on your life, and whether it's your age, your health, the relationships you have, whatever it may be, the people you still have in your life before they leave, you'll view that as the good old days. It's pretty clear, kids think that they have a lot of problems, and I was a kid who thought I had a lot of problems, but I really had nothing. I had really had no problems, and life was easy, and in a way, those were the good old days. I'm glad I'm not in those days anymore. But looking back, those were the good old days. And then right now will be the good old days to future me. And then that person looking back to this present, those will be the good old days. That person, the days he's living, well, those will be the good old days to future me. So it's trivial trivial to live outside of the present moment, and how trivial the things we want so passionately truly are. We think that these things that we get in the future are going to bring us happiness, are going to bring us fulfillment, are going to bring us everlasting, sustaining fulfillment. But it never does. One activity won't make or break your life. One day or a dollar amount or one trip to some place isn't going to make or break your life. It's going to happen, and then it's going to be over, and then it's going to be back to the same old thing. So that's why it's very helpful to remember to remind yourself that the things we want so passionately truly are so trivial. Because we want them so passionately because we believe they're going to make our lives so much better. We believe that once we get them, everything's going to be okay. We'll be able to bear any hardship. Life will get easy, life will be enjoyable, and we'll be good. I think it's safe to say that we wait to live. And in waiting to live, we never truly live. You say, someday I'll do that. When I have more time, when I have more money, when I have more this. But you're never going to have enough, especially of time. You're always going to be busy. There's always going to be things to do. And you're just not going to have enough time. And I like to remind myself that the best time to do something was back then. The best time to do something, was when you were a kid. And you could have been doing it for years at this point, and you could have cultivated a bunch of skills. And, they say it's easier to learn things when you're a kid, so you would have learned it quicker than you're going to learn it now. And it would have been in the past, and you'd have all these skills. But you can't go back. So the second best time to do something is right now, no matter what's going on in your life, because there's always going to be something going on in your life. There's never going to not be something going on in your life. You're always going to have a bunch of obligations, a bunch of to-dos, and time is always going to be scarce. It's just the way it is. But you truly make time for the things you want to do. You truly do. A lot of people say they don't have time to go to the gym, or they don't have time to read, or they don't have time to write, or they don't have time to fill in the blank, whatever hobby that they, in the dream world, they pursue, pick up a new instrument, learn a new language, learn how to surf, whatever. They don't have time to do these things. But if you look at their daily schedule, they spend 2 hours every night watching some show on Netflix. It's like right there's 2 hours. You could put an hour into the gym, 30 minutes into the guitar, 30 minutes into Spanish, and then you're picking up 3 new skills right there. Right there. But you tell yourself you don't have time. But you should never tell yourself you don't have time to do something. You should always remind yourself that you don't want to make time to do that thing. And sometimes that's okay. Right now there's things that I want to do, and I don't make time for them. I have time, I could make time for them, but there's other things that are more important to me right now. So I have to sacrifice these things to focus on these things. And I understand that trade-off, but I don't sit here and tell people, oh, I just don't have time for that. I'll tell them, I don't want to make time for that right now. I could, learn the guitar. I could do these things, but that takes time. And I want to put my time in other places right now. And I spend a lot of time taking out a lot of the junk that I do in my life. I don't watch television. I don't scroll on social media. I don't do a lot of the things I used to do that used to take up hours of my life. And now I've read, a bunch of books. I've written a bunch of pages. I've made a bunch of videos. I've learned how to do things. I've learned how to surf. I've climbed mountains. I've traveled across the United States, been into Canada, I've been to Hawaii, I've been to all these places. And it's because I made time for them. I made time for these things. Some people say, I don't have time for that. I don't have the money for those things. But I've saved money and I've made time for these things. And that's how it works, clearly. And I know not everyone is, a 22-year-old who has as much free time as me, but there is a lot of people who are, and they don't spend their free time wisely. Every weekend is spent going out. It's spent sleeping in. It's spent watching television, playing video games, doing things that are cultivating no real life skills, that are cultivating nothing that one will look back on his deathbed and say, yes, I'm glad I did that. Especially if one is working a job that they don't like. Their time should not be getting put into these trivial matters when the bulk of their day is taken up by an activity that they don't like. Your free time should be invested into figuring out what it is you do like and pursuing the things that you want to do. It shouldn't be spent numbing yourself because you hate the other half of your day. The weekends aren't something that should be spent numbing yourself because you don't like your job. They should be spent pursuing something that you do like to potentially get yourself out of your job, or to figure out something that you want to do so you can quit your job and pursue that. But everyone will tell you they don't have time because they don't make time. You make time for the things that you want to do. Truly. And you can sit here and criticize what I'm saying and say, I just don't understand. You have a lot of obligations. You have a lot of stuff going on. You got schoolwork. You got all these things. And, maybe you're right. Maybe I don't understand. But does that empower you to live a better life? Is that what you want to tell yourself to make yourself feel better? That you truly don't have time to pursue your passions, your dreams, and to make your life better? I mean, if you want to go down that path, okay, that's fine with me. It's not my life. But you have to ask yourself, is this really how I want to spend my life? Playing the victim card, telling myself that they just don't understand. I really don't have that much time. Or it's hard for me, I really like watching these shows. I really like playing these video games. I used to play a lot of video games. I used to watch a lot of shows, and I used to do a lot of things I don't do anymore. That wasted a lot of time. And it wasn't easy at first, but I did it. And now my life is way better. But it's never easy at first. But it gets easy once you realize how beneficial it is for you. Discipline becomes a lot easier to enact when you realize how much deep, real pleasure you get from being disciplined. When you eat healthy for a year and go to the gym consistently, and you get a six pack and you get stronger and you feel better and you're just better in every way, that's a deep pleasure. Deep pleasure, you have no idea what it feels like, is if every night you eat ice cream and you tell yourself, tomorrow I'll start my diet, tomorrow I'll go to the gym, tomorrow, tomorrow, tomorrow. Tomorrow is the biggest lie that anyone that has ever been told. The biggest lie that has ever been told is that I will do it tomorrow. If it's something worth doing tomorrow, it's something worth doing right here, right now, today. Don't ever say, I'm going to start this action in the future. Don't, like, on December 1st, don't start making up your New Year's resolution and then saying, all right, the 31st comes and then boom, or the first comes and boom, I'm in this. It's like, no, start today. If it's going to be worth to start it in a month, it's worth to start it today. And then you're building that habit of not putting it off. You're saying no right here, right now. You're not saying no one more day or one more time. You're saying no, no more. Because if you put it off till tomorrow, today, what do you think you're going to do tomorrow? You're going to put it off to the next day. And you're going to keep doing it and keep doing it. And even if one day you actually do it, but you said the day before you're going to do it tomorrow, you're already in that habit. And then the next day, you're probably going to say tomorrow. Consistency is truly key in a lot of things. And to become consistent, you should start today, not at some distant point in the future. Because you have time today. You truly have time today. Now, sleep is very important, but if you're getting 10 hours of sleep, that's an hour or two right there that you could be getting back. If you're sleeping in every day, that's time right there you could be getting back. Like I said, sleep is valuable, but I think if you're getting more than 8 hours on a consistent basis, if you get 7.5 one night and then you get 9 the next night, that's okay. But if you're consistently getting like 9 to 10 hours, I personally think that's too much. Unless you're really spending your day, like working really hard, body, physically and mentally, and you really need it, and you're really pursuing the things you want to do. But if you're sitting there telling yourself you don't have time, but you sleep 10 hours a day, you have 2 hours right there you can save. And if you telling yourself you don't have time and you've watched like 40 hours of Netflix this month, there's 40 hours right there. That works out to like an hour and 15 minutes every day. You have it right there. So don't tell yourself you don't have the time, because you do. And yeah, you got the time. So use it.